In today's news, BVI records an additional 3 imported COVID-19 cases in just 24 hours. And Premier Fahie comments on the UK's beneficial ownership draft order.
Partner Mr. David Fonseca of M.A.L.E. joins us live to discuss upcoming Christmas initiative, as well as Alric Smith talks preserving Virgin Islands culture this Christmas through the art of tart making. It's an interview you don't want to miss. All this and more when 284 News returns.
Can you hear the Christmas bells ringing? Are you listening? Right Way Food Markets is giving back up to $10,000 to you, and yes, you. Spend $50 or more in any one of our locations for a chance to win one of 2 $500 store vouchers each week. And there's more. On the day before Christmas, 2 lucky persons will win $1,000. Just scan the QR code to upload your receipt or simply drop it into the entry box to win. This promotion ends on December 24th. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! I am a poor boy too.
Welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, December 16th, 2020. We're coming to you live and direct from our paradise, our home in Tortola, the beautiful British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Kyla Kenisha Forbes. And of course, we are bringing to you local, regional, and international content. Of course, we have to jump into our news summary before we get into the meat of the matter. So basically, now we see where the BVI have recorded an additional 3 COVID-19 cases in just 24 hours. As well as Honorable Kai Reimer and Honorable Julian Fraser is in agreement that it is unfair to not fully appoint long-serving public servants to their respective roles. Also, we see where Premier Fahie pushes for 20K fines for the breaching of quarantine, and that is something we're definitely going to dive into this newscast, as well as non-belongers. Homeowners can now stay up to 10 months in the territory. Also, Honorable Mitch Turnbull is concerned that businesses with unpaid taxes continues to get government contracts.
Of course, continuing on, disrespectful behavior should not be rewarded, says at-large representative the Honorable Neville Smith. And active COVID-19 cases, which we're going to get into, as Kyla mentioned, they're continuing to rise in the British Virgin Islands. Government says no one is employed at Prospect Reef, but employees are denying that. The Honorable Marlon Penn is hosting the 8th District Hot Meals for All in Need this Saturday, December 19th. We have the flyer that we're going to show you for that, and right now we're going to get into our newscast.
Most definitely. Now, as we've been talking about just last evening, Ron, we reported that there were 3 additional cases, which brought the territory to 6 active cases. But now in just 24 hours, we see where the BVI is now to 9 active cases. Now, yesterday in the House of Assembly, Minister for Health and Social Development gave a report on the rise in imported COVID-19 cases. As I said before, the BVI have now reported 9 active COVID-19 cases. Reports were made that there was some breaches in protocols by visitors that were subsequently tested negatively. Now, in a government-issued press release, it was stated that, and I quote, "Due to recent breaches in quarantine procedures by guests testing positive for COVID-19, the Public Health Division of the Ministry of Health is currently conducting contact tracing and investigations," end quote. Now, any persons who patronize the following establishments are urged to contact the Public Health Division to be tested for COVID-19. These establishments are the Willie T Restaurant and Bar on Friday, December 11th between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., as well as Presser's Restaurant located in Suffers Hole in Tortola on Monday, December 14th between the hours of 6:45 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, persons can contact the Public Health Division at 468-2274 or call the medical hotline at 852-76504 for referrals. Now, testing is free to those who have been affected by this incident. Now we see where Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, or Premier of the Virgin Islands, have addressed the reports of the recent protocol breaches. Here's what he had to say about it.
Come somebody and decide that they're going to just leave the quarantine area and they're positive. There's nothing to hide under the bush. And now, thank God, thus far, all they have come in contact with is negative. In the contact tracing, I give our contact tracing team all the kudos and thank God for that. And I pray God that all the others they find negative also. But is he responsible?
Now, viewers, Premier Fahie even took it a step further, indicating that he will be pushing in cabinet for stricter penalties to be imposed on persons that dare to breach the mandated protocols. Listen into what he had to say.
But is he responsible? And tomorrow is cabinet, and I'm going to be pushing for it to be $10,000. And if I could get it to 20, I'll push to be $20,000. It's foolishness. Vex my spirit.
Now, viewers, there we see Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, Premier of the Virgin Islands, basically very infuriated by the situation, Ron. Simply speaking to the fact that, you know, here in the BVI, we went months without active cases and trying our best to uphold the standards and the protocols that have been put in place. And we see where he is infuriated and he's pushing for stricter penalties. And honestly, I can say that I sort of agree with him.
Well, Kyla, the Honorable Premier is making some valid points in regards to the fact that there should be stricter measures in place for persons that will breach the quarantine protocols. Right. But I must tell you, if persons can breach it, they will breach it. So it's not up to you to just implement stricter measures. It's up to you to make sure that your protocols are effective. Right. When we look at the territory of the Virgin Islands and persons coming back into the territory, we have wristbands that are faulty. We have persons who are using similar device to a Wi-Fi. Right. That persons in the territory have said they see literally tourists walking around with the Wi-Fi box. Your system is broken. That's first and foremost. That's the most imperative to understand. And I think it's important as a territory, we not use this as a job training method. This is not a job training. While we want persons to come back to the territory, we need to make sure that protocols are in place. I do agree, again, that stricter measures should be in place, but we have to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to have effective protocols, and I think that's effectively where it's going to start. If persons can breach the protocols, they're going to breach the protocols, and at the end of the day, you can't blame them for breaching the protocols because your system doesn't work.
That is a great point. At the end of the day, I think we cannot just point fingers, but we have to look at how can we improve as we go through this entire process, because this is a serious matter.
It is.
We are happy to see that thus far no one have tested positive as it pertains to contact tracing, but it could have been way worse, and we definitely need to pull up our socks.
And we want to avoid that.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'd like to also add that I would like to commend the government, of course, for their efforts, but again, let's just try to make it as tight as possible.
Agreed.
Continuing on the local scene, in a Government Information Services release, it was announced that the United Kingdom government recently published the draft Overseas Territories Publicly Accessible Companies Registered, also known as the Beneficial Ownership of Companies Order Draft, and accompanying exemplary note. Now, the Premier and Minister of Finance of the Virgin Islands, the Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, has communicated that the UKG, that while the Virgin Islands remains committed to the global efforts aimed at tracking illicit financial flows and will, of course, continue to cooperate with international standards setting bodies on matters related to information exchange, beneficial ownership, and economic substance, the government of the Virgin Islands has significant reservations regarding the draft order. Now, the Premier Fahie said, and I quote, "In particular, the draft order mandates the creation of publicly accessible registers permitting a general public access to the range of data of a personal and private nature. In so doing, the draft order may pose a threat to those privacy rights secured to individuals under the Constitution, of course, of the Virgin Islands. Now, the leader of government business also added, and I quote, "This is, however, subject to ongoing proceedings before the Virgin Islands High Court, and so the Premier will not commit further, except to say that this is a matter for the court to consider and decide in the usual way." Now, the government of the Virgin Islands remains committed, of course, to monitoring, contributing to, and following any global standard on the implementation of publicly accessible registers on the beneficial ownership, including through its work with standard-setting bodies such as Organization for the Economic Cooperation and Development and the Financial Action Task Force. Now, current regulation of financial services in the Virgin Islands is compliant with the global best practice. Indeed, the Beneficial Ownership Secure Search System, also known as BOSS, was established by the Virgin Islands legislation in 2017 as part of the BVI's commitment to, of course, ensure effective cooperation between relevant law enforcement agencies to prevent financial crime. Now, the Premier Fahie said that any modification to the BOSS system could only be done taking into account, of course, the concerns raised by the government of the Virgin Islands, global best practice and obligations, and under the Constitution of the Virgin Islands. Kyla, this is a major story because we see here where our leader of government business is replying to the draft document that has been submitted, of course, by the UK government. And I don't think persons understand the severity of the impact of the signing of the beneficial ownerships. Now, he's making comments, but these comments come after the beneficial ownership has already been signed.
Right.
It's like signing a contract and then telling your landlord, I don't really like that. Let's adjust it after the fact. And I think that's important for us to understand. We're voicing our concerns, and it's very honorable that we can do that as a territory, but they have been signed already.
Ron, this is definitely something that we should be looking at and continue to look at with careful eyes, because this is something that can impact the BVI greatly as it pertains to our financial services sector.
Most definitely. Our viewers, we have so much ahead. David Fonseca, partner of M.A.L.E, he is joining us live and direct to discuss an upcoming Christmas initiative that's going to be taking the Virgin Islands by storm. And of course, a local baker, Alric Smith, talks preserving Virgin Islands culture this Christmas through the art of tart making. Now, I'm a guava fan, and we're not going to debate. We're just going to get into it. All this and more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The win! Oh!
What is the hell?
I'm freaking out!
Is time.
284 News
coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin'? What's really good? What's happening? What's happening? What's up?
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. As promised, with me, joining us live and direct in studio is the one and only Mr. David Fonseca. Mr. Fonseca, thank you so much for your time and welcome to 284 Media Studios.
Thank you guys for having me on today.
You're most welcome. Now, you are partnering with M.A.L.E, the organization that really seeks to better the lives through mentorship in the Virgin Islands of young men in the territory. Tell us about this initiative that you literally went to M.A.L.E to and say, hey, let's do this.
Okay, last week, let's say last week when Tuesday morning, kind of wake up, you know, and there's a thought went through my mind, I need to give back to the people of the BVI, especially the kids, because the kids are the future.
Yes.
So I was home thinking about what I could do, so I decided to, you know, let's do some gifts, hand out some gifts, because, you know, it's COVID-19 and a lot of single parents haven't it had. So I came into town and I met up with Mr. Tittle, and me and he had a conversation. So he was like, you know, let's join up together. Let's do the set together. And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. We now join with the males, and we just get this whole stuff done and get it done, move for next week, Thursday.
Awesome. So literally, you're going to be taking to the streets with the young men of M.A.L.E. You're talking about the 4th, 5th, and the 6th district. And tell us what you're going to be doing exactly.
Well, my whole plan is to take toys, gifts, through the 4th district, through Longbush, into Lower Estate, to the Rainbow Home, and then go on up to the 5th district, Huntham's Gut, and then into the 6th district, just handing out toys, you know, trying to make the kids, I'm happy for this summer, for this Christmas, my bad, for this Christmas.
Yes.
You know, and let's make everybody happy. That's all I want to do. Just give back.
I must commend you and thank you. I think it's a great initiative. When exactly will this be taking place?
We'll be taking place on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, and persons in these districts between 3 and about 5:30.
3 to 5:30, we'll be out handing out toys and a little soft drink along with it too.
Amazing. Now, Mr. Fonseca, you are originally from the 4th District.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I think is imperative that we understand and realize in the Virgin Islands community that it still takes, and I repeat it a lot, I say it a lot, but it's very important that we understand that it still takes a village to raise a child. Tell me how important you think it is for us as a community. You spoke about the single parents who are having a difficult time. This initiative by you is just one, but there are other persons in the community who might be in a position to assist. Speak to that and how important it is for persons to give if they can in a variety of different ways.
Well, after I already talked to Mr. Tittle, I went to the government. So I went to the Premier, Honorable Andrew Fahie, and I talked to him about it, and he's a large candidate, and they all pitched in. You know, I thank Honorable Kevin Malone, Honorable Neville Smith for pitching in and helping out to make this here work, and also Sean Mohammed at Nagico for pitching in, Bruce Wong at Premier Insurance for pitching in, you know, for all those guys there, and they have some anonymous people who don't want their name to be called and stuff, and so, and I'm gonna thank all those guys to hope that next year it'll be bigger, that I can go to more districts and do more stuff. But for right now, it's just something that I wanted to do. So I kind of get the title and, you know, and then just popped off from there.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on the initiative. Viewers, children, parents of children in the 4th, 5th, and 6th District, Christmas Eve, 3 p.m. to about 5:30. You can come out on your porch, come out on the side of the road, and you might just get a gift. Because,
and look out for a red bus
yes,
with Christmas music.
Wonderful, because Santa Fonseca is coming through.
Santa, Mr. Tittle, and Mr. Fonseca is coming through.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys. You know, I mean, so be out next week, Thursday, 3:30. 5:30 we'll be out and about handing out gifts.
Wonderful. Viewers, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
That's it.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut fun people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up power?
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News. Now on to a very, very special interview like the one with Mr. Fonseca. Joining us today is Mr. Alric Smith, a local baker here in the Virgin Islands. Mr. Smith, welcome to 284 News.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're most welcome. Now, Alric, I must ask you, how long have you been baking, how long have you been preserving, really, the art of baking in the territory?
Been baking for about 12 years. This will be 12 years. I started in summer of 2008 when I actually learned from my mother, and I just rolled with it from then.
Wonderful. Now, recently you participated in a press promotions event where you were one of the local bakers selected to host a sip and bake event. And now in that event, you had the opportunity to really teach persons the skill of baking. Tell us about that experience.
Yes, I was contacted about a few weeks ago, and they mentioned this event, which was a sip and bake, where they invited bakers to kind of give a lesson of the tart baking business or tart making art. And I'm always up to teaching persons how to make it. I learned from someone, so it is good to pass on the knowledge, keep the tradition going. And it was a fun event. It was put on by Press On Promotion, that's Idrisha Richards. And her idea, I think this was the second time that she held it. And it is a good initiative to kind of showcase the different talents of the BVI.
Wonderful. Now, it's Christmas time, and I must ask you, different territories, different countries across the regions celebrate Christmas in a very different way, but one of the things that's very special to us here in the Virgin Islands, especially around Christmas time, is tarts. How important do you think tart making and in being able to enjoy tarts is to the culture and heritage of the BVI?
Well, I think it's very important. We as BVI Islanders, we have to kind of keep our tradition going. As I've said, I learned it from my mother, and my grandmother was also known as a very well-known baker in the Western area. And people kind of seem to think that I've gotten the art from her, which I wish I did. But when she was around, I was only concerned about when she was finished baking so that I can eat.
Understand.
So it is good that we can keep the tradition going. You know, you can't keep it all into yourself. So those generations that are coming up, they have something to fall back on to say, this is our thing. And tart baking around Christmas is our thing.
Wonderful. Now, tell us about how persons who are desirous of not only tasting your delectable tarts, but those of us who might be interested in actually learning the art of tart making, how can we get in contact with you?
Well, they can contact me through Facebook. My Facebook is Alric Smith, or my number 499-6271, and I'm always open to teaching persons when I do have the time. Of course, around this time right now isn't
the best
really the best time. Is work. The schedule will be tight. I'm not sure if I can exactly squeeze everyone in this time around.
But you are taking orders, am I correct?
I
don't want to overwhelm you because you're gonna get a lot of orders.
I do have a cutoff period. I have to also take into account that I have a full-time job.
Yes.
So, and this time around the time constraints, well, I'm not time permitted. I can't take on too much.
Understandable.
But I am still open for anyone who wants to learn. I can give a session.
Well, first of all, I must thank you and commend you for being so willing to pass on the tradition of the art of tart making. I think it's immensely important for us as Virgin Islanders to continue to passing on such traditions, similar to something like cassava bread. I think it's very important that we hold on to those methods. I must ask you, there's been a lot of debate on the preference of tart. Now, I a guava man. I love me some guava tart.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, I do the guava berry too,
guava
but I prefer
guava
tart. When you look at the tier of tarts, what's the scale? Break it down for me.
Okay.
What would you say, top to bottom?
I know some folks will get mad, but especially a lot. But when we think of the tier of tarts, coconut is down here. Then you step up to pineapple. And then in between you have guava and mango, kind of etching it out. And then the top tier for me would be guava berry. That would be for the tart connoisseurs.
All right.
Guava berry.
Well, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate your services, and we wish you the very best this holiday season. Continue to pass on the art of tart making. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
Viewers, we're going to be right back after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, before we go on, Ron, I do want to that segment was an amazing segment as we transition into, we are in the holiday season, but we're right upon Christmas, and really and truly, both great initiatives, but also with the whole tart thing, I was just over here shaking my head because the fact that coconut is to the bottom, like I really don't understand.
That's how it is sometimes.
I don't know what the debate is about. I love coconut and guava equally, to be honest. It's just all amazing, and I get my tart out of the western end of the island.
Okay?
Listen,
so
tart making. I'm from Eastern, but I will let you to know. My tart have to come out of Western, to be honest. But before we wrap up, viewers, we do have another story which is very important. Now, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force yesterday charged a 52-year-old male, a native of St. Vincent and a BVI resident, for raping a minor. He is scheduled to appear in a closed court sitting of the magistrate court. Now, the head of Family and Juvenile Unit, Detective Inspector John Antoine, is asking the public not to generate any undue exposure to the family, whether via social media or commentary in public, and to exercise sensitivity, particularly since the victim of this tragic incident is underage. He said, and I quote, "The circumstances surrounding this incident is sensitive, that the name of the perpetrator and all parties involved in this incident are being withheld. We are asking for the individual names and circumstances surrounding of this incident to be kept out of the public arena." This is what Inspector Antoine had to say. Now, this is a very sad story, Ron.
Of course.
In my opinion. There's no words at this point.
I totally agree with you. At the end of the day, Kyla, when issues of this nature come to our desk and through our emails, it's important that the general public themselves understand the severity of the matter. And like the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has asked to take into consideration the depth and magnitude of the case in considering the victim and their family. We have a tendency and a nature and a culture here in the Virgin Islands where we like to simply take to the blogs and say what we like, whether it's about the victim or the assailant, the complaint. And I think that persons need to really revisit their methods of expression because we all have families and we all have, most of us are associated with children of some sort. So we must consider the ramifications that come from such very ticklish and painful, I might add, painful, very painful circumstances.
Ron, when such stories come across our desks, as you said, sometimes it's not necessarily something that we want to speak about, but it's necessary for us to speak about, and really wanting to appeal to the public that this is not gossip. This is not something that you just want to talk about. We have to be sensitive in this situation because, unfortunately, an underage child is a part of this situation. So just be mindful. We are talking to our viewers. Now, viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us at 284 Media on Facebook and 284 BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. I am Kyla Kenisha Ford.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. We will, of course, see you tomorrow as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and, of course, international content. We're 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news coming straight out of the Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Have a great rest of the day. Happy Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.